The daughter of Bai Ningbing's first love was a born malignancy. She took advantage of my inattention and lured my son away. When I found him, he was sealed inside a wall, his eyes wide open, clearly having died in deep resentment. My wife, the police officer, Bai Ningbing, said, "Qin Shou's child is a minor. Let's not press charges." She immediately arranged a psychological evaluation for the child. Later, when Qin Shou's daughter disappeared, my wife investigated me as if she'd gone mad. After clearing me, she warned me again, "Fong Fong is gone, but his daughter still has a future. Stop targeting Qin Shou." I smiled, my voice cold and hard. "Don't worry, his daughter will never come back." I had always detested Qin Shou's daughter. She was shifty, eyed with a malicious gaze. My wife claimed it was jealousy because Qin Shou was her ex-boyfriend. She'd often tousle my hair, smiling. "He has a daughter. I have you and Fong Fong. We are never going to be anything. Don't be so malicious toward that child." Before I left to make deliveries, I still repeatedly warned my son not to interact with Qin Shou's daughter, Qin Yao. However, when I got home, my son was still missing. I immediately asked my police wife to investigate. Surveillance showed Fong Fong had followed Qin Yao and left the complex. Bai Ningbing's brow furrowed, and I slammed the table. It was her. It must have been her. But Bai Ningbing decided to question Qin Yao first. Qin Yao was already home eating dinner. Seeing us, Qin Yao's father, Qin Shou, stated firmly, "My daughter couldn't have kidnapped your son. Your son likes to play. What does that have to do with my daughter?" I ignored Bai Ningbing's objection and showed him the surveillance video right away. Only then did Qin Yao stammer. "I was just playing a game with him." She paused, then suddenly asked, "Say, minors don't go to jail, right?" My mind was short-circuited, letting out a buzz. Qin Yao led us to a disused construction site. The police pried open the unplastered brick wall, and my son's body suddenly tumbled out. His body was crammed inside a feed sack, his head wrapped in plastic, his eyes wide, clearly suffocated to death. Qin Yao first played charades with my son at the entrance, successfully winning his trust before bringing him here. She claimed she'd teach him how to tie and untie knots, even letting him tie her up a few times to demonstrate the release. My son was eager to try, so she tied him up with a dead knot. I like little boys best. They're handsome and cool, much more fun than girls. Qin Yao smiled at me with her childlike face. The police wouldn't let me touch the body. I could only watch as they carried out my son, took photos, and collected evidence. His neck had suspicious ligature marks that trailed down. He wasn't wearing pants. "I'll kill you." I snatched a steel pipe from the ground and charged toward Qin Yao, but both my arms were locked in a vice grip. Bai Ningbing wrestled the pipe from me. "Are you insane? Let go of me. I'm going to slaughter this demon." Qin Shou fearfully shielded his daughter in his arms and yelled to Bai Ningbing, "Old Bai, stop him. Quick." "Fong Yuan," she roared. "Trust me, all right? I'm a police officer." She was a well-known police officer in the district. I used my last shred of reason to tell myself, "Follow the procedure. You'll get justice for our son, won't you?" "Our son. I just changed his jersey before I left." She promised me. "Of course I will. I'm his mother." The incident became a huge sensation. But Qin Yao was only 8, a minor. At the police station, I looked at my wife in disbelief. "That's it? She killed our son, yet she faces no punishment." Bai Ningbing gripped my arm, stopping me from making a scene. "Calm down, honey. Those are the legal rules." I glared intensely at Qin Yao and her father, shoved Bai Ningbing away, grabbed the ashtray from the table, and threw it at them. Help! He's going to kill us." Qin Shou screamed and crouched in the corner with his daughter. Bai Ningbing locked her arms around mine from behind. "Stop it. This is a police station." My eyes were bloodshot, and I growled. "So what? My son is dead. Why does she get to live?" "Let go." Bai Ningbing used a takedown move to subdue me, then had 2 colleagues force me down onto a chair. Qin Yao wailed loudly. Bai Ningbing turned, walked over, and gently stroked her head. "It's all right, don't cry. The uncle didn't mean it. The counselor is coming right away, don't be scared." "Counseling?" My whole body shook as I stared at her. "You mean my son is dead? The murderer not only goes unpunished, but you're also setting her up with therapy." She jerked her head away, refusing eye contact. "Children commit crimes when they lack affection. She's young, she can be rehabilitated." My tears streamed down. The 2 officers could barely hold me. Who will rehabilitate my son? Can anyone bring him back? He was innocent and gets no justice. Yet this killer needs care? Bai Ningbing's face darkened. She signaled to Qin Shou and his daughter. Qin Shou immediately grabbed the child and slipped away behind her. A Yuan, I'm hurting too, but we both need to calm down. My teeth ground together. She just smiled at me. She's a born evil. She can't be fixed. You misread it. Qin Shou is a good father, and she has a lot of room to grow. Rage boiled up in me, my vision went dark, and I collapsed. After waking, I felt strangely calm. I went to see my son's body. The signs of abuse were still horrifyingly visible. Qin Yao used tools readily available at the site to cruelly defile his body, leaving multiple lacerations. The forensic pathologist watched me warily, afraid I'd collapse again. I just curled the corner of my mouth and said calmly, "Thank you, doctor." On the way out, I ran straight into Qin Yao, who was there for her regular counseling. She feigned innocence. Well, Yao Yao knows she was wrong. So does that mean she won't be punished? The psychologist saw me and immediately fell silent. I leaned against the doorway. Don't worry, I won't make a scene. My wife also arranged therapy for me. Qin Yao actually walked over and smiled at me. Uncle, Yao Yao won't hurt Fong Fong again. Will you forgive Yao Yao? The doctor's face went white, and he quickly pulled her away. I just smiled and said, that's perfectly fine. That night, I bought a cleaver. The law here didn't suit me. I would handle this my way. Leaving the supermarket, I walked down a dark alley with no surveillance. A man stopped me. I know what you're planning. The man was gaunt, but his former charm was faintly visible. He smiled at me and held out his hand. My name is Lin Yuan. I have a way to do this without going to jail, and I need your help. My brows knitted together. What is your connection to Qin Yao? His mouth twitched, his eyes hollow. My daughter. She threw her in the river. The two men who had lost children stared at each other for a few seconds on the secluded path, then clasped each other's hands tightly. I had always wanted to meet Qin Shou, but he kept refusing, even lying that there was no woman at home and begging my wife to assign police protection to him. I sent a message to Qin Shou. If he'd just meet me and resolve my emotional turmoil, I would stop harassing him and his daughter. He actually agreed. I want one of her fingers. He nearly spat out his coffee. Are you insane? My daughter is going to college one day. My tone was flat, but my son lost his life. Asking for one finger is already merciful enough. You're crazy. Your son is dead, but my daughter is still alive. She has a bright future ahead. He shot up and left. Old Bai was absolutely right. You belong in a mental hospital. My breath caught for a beat, but I didn't let it show. I got home, and Qin Shou's phone call came in right away. Where's my daughter? Where have you hidden her? I just chuckled lightly. I was drinking coffee with you the whole time. When would I have had time to touch your daughter? The police naturally made me the prime suspect in Qin Yao's disappearance. A father who has lost a child, the flames of revenge can scorch the whole world. I just said mildly. I admit, I did want her dead, but I didn't get the chance. The police found I had purchased a bone-chopping cleaver, but it was brand new, completely unused, and the luminol test showed no reaction. I really did want to use this knife to chop her up. I sat at the police station, looking at the cleaver, the evidence. My plan was, if Qin Shou agreed, I'd use it to slice off the killer's finger. If he refused, I'd slash her throat. I shrugged and smiled. Too bad she beat me to it and disappeared. All my testimony was perfectly consistent. After the talk failed, the surveillance showed me returning straight home. I had no time to commit the crime. Bai Ningbing looked at me with a complex expression through the door's window, with the on the verge of collapse Qin Shou beside her. I nodded at her and smiled. She clenched her fists tightly. Later, the surveillance near the community captured Qin Yao's final image. She left alone, seeming quite happy. The police, with no choice, closed Qin Yao's case as a missing person file. I was cleared of suspicion. Qin Shou broke down sobbing. That evening, Bai Ningbing called to tell me Qin Shou was mentally unstable and she was worried he'd do something foolish, so she wouldn't be coming home tonight. I didn't complain and even told her to keep a close eye on him. That night, I lit incense for my son's photo, took another picture, and went to my restaurant to meet someone. In the boiler room, Qin Yao was gagged and tied to a chair, watching Lin Yuan and me with abject terror. You're here. Lin Yuan nodded at me calmly, took my son's photo, and placed it next to the photo of a girl of similar age. "What are you doing?" I asked. He just smiled at me, then pulled off the gag. Qin Yao immediately shrieked, "Uncle, I was wrong. Please, let me go. I'm just a child. I don't know anything." Lin Yuan bent down and pointed at the two photos. "Do you know them?" Qin Yao had been through something these past 2 days. Her arms and legs were covered in scars. She opened her eyes wide and looked across. Uncle, I'm just a child. The police already forgave me. Are they the parents of my child too?" Lin Yuan tilted his head, smiling, yanked her hair, and held out his hand to me. "Excuse me, hand me the knife." I handed him the dagger from the table. He was quick with the blade, cutting the ropes and slicing off a piece of her flesh in the process. Qin Yao screamed in agony. Lin Yuan gripped her chin. "My daughter screamed like that too, didn't she? Did you spare her?" With that, he dragged her to the boiler. The opening wasn't huge, but it was more than enough to fit a child. My eyes snapped wide. "Lin Yuan, you." He stopped and looked back. "Are you going to stop me?" I stepped forward. He held Qin Yao, who was too weak to resist after days of torment. "She is still young." I looked at her. She also looked at me with hope. "Uncle, Dad is waiting for me at home. Please save me. I've had lots of counseling. I know I was wrong." I remembered Qin Shou's words, stroked her face, and sighed. "Actually, your father was right. You still have a long life ahead of you." Lin Yuan's face darkened, and his gaze at me was icy cold. I turned and pulled open the boiler's hatch. "Use this worthless life of yours to apologize properly to those 2 children. No, don't." This was the first time I'd seen genuine terror on Qin Yao's face. A person will never truly know remorse until the knife cuts their own flesh. But I gave her no chance. Lin Yuan said nothing more and shoved her inside. Her hands frantically gripped the edge of the opening. I lifted my foot and viciously kicked her face. Lin Yuan closed the hatch, turned, lit the fire, and listened quietly to the thump, thump sounds from inside the boiler. He curled his lip and let out a stifled laugh. The struggling sounds inside grew louder. He threw his head back and laughed, his voice drowning out the boiler's roaring. Only when it became completely silent inside did he slowly compose himself. Realizing I was still there, he turned, wiped the tears from his eyes. "You must think I'm crazy?" He smiled, but there was no joy in his eyes. I thought I would vomit or feel sick, but nothing happened. Instead, I opened my arms and held him tight. The real lunatic has already been killed by us. I got home very late that night. The next day, I slept until late morning before finally getting up. Bai Ningbing sat on the edge of the bed, her face cold. "I can't believe you can still sleep." I propped myself up. "What's wrong?" If you hadn't asked him out that day, how could his daughter have disappeared? I furrowed my brows. "Bai Ningbing, are you blaming me?" She suddenly pinned me to the bed, her voice like an interrogator. "I know you did it. You are committing a crime. Do you think I don't know what you did last night? Do you really want me to arrest you myself?" My eyes widened. Did she follow me? But I was cautious the whole way. My mind went blank, yet my thoughts were spinning fast. "Yes, I did it." I held out my hands. "Arrest me. I don't want to live anyway." She froze. We were deadlocked for a few seconds. She suddenly relaxed and smiled. "Don't be nervous. I was just testing you." Just as I thought, she was bluffing. I backhanded her across the face. "How dare you test me? Bai Ningbing, I'm the one whose son died, not your ex-boyfriend. I know I'm a suspect, but what's a mother like you rushing to investigate me for? Are you rushing to give your ex-boyfriend justice? What about my justice?" She remained silent and held me tight. "I'm sorry. I was just too afraid it was you. I don't want to lose you." I shoved her away and got ready to leave. In the living room, I noticed the table where my son's photo had been was empty. "Where is Fong Fong's photo?" I whirled around and demanded. Her gaze darted away. I put it away. It didn't look nice there. I gave her a backhand slap. "How dare you despise him?" She quickly grabbed my hand. "I don't despise him. It's just, no matter how sad we are, our son won't come back. But Qin Shou's daughter still has a chance." I couldn't believe these words came from my son's mother. My eyes were red. She has a chance? My son had a chance too. She's the one who took away my son's chance. Why should the victim be forgotten? Why? Fong Yuan. She furrowed her brow. "No one said we should forget. But people need to look forward. Fong Fong is dead. What good will it do to make a scene now?" I said nothing more. She looked at me, a little panicked. That's not it, honey. It's just, I'm a police officer. I have a duty to every case, and there are still unresolved questions in Yao Yao's case. I smiled wretchedly. I married her precisely because of her diligence and sense of responsibility. She went from a junior officer to a key figure in the precinct. No case ever went unsolved on her watch. But now, this virtue has become the thing I hate the most. I advanced toward her, step by step. This case is closed. The higher-ups aren't pursuing it anymore. Why are you so anxious? Why did you brush off our son's case, but you're so devoted to Qin Yao's disappearance? Is it because Qin Shou is your ex-boyfriend? She was forced back until her back hit the wall, and she frowned. What are you thinking? There's nothing going on between him and me. I know. I did a paternity test on you and Qin Yao. She opened her eyes wide. You once suspected something between us. I told you I'm just doing my job. I let out a cold laugh. Yes, and you're just as fair and impartial toward the murderer who killed our son. She lowered her gaze. A Yuan, you don't understand. This is my duty. I slapped her, turned, and strode away. Recently, there have been many tourists here, and my specialty restaurant's business is booming. But just as the customers were focused on their meal, a team of police rushed in, startling everyone. Leading them was my wife, Bai Ningbing. I exploded in anger. What are you doing? You've scared away my customers. She smiled and waved at the crowd. Don't worry, everyone. We just have a few things to check with the owner. Please continue your meal. That said, she had brought someone with her, the nearly broken Qin Shou. He yelled and screamed at me. Fang Yuan, what exactly did you do to my daughter? Give her back to me now. After he caused a scene like that, no one wanted to eat. Everyone who could left. Bai Ningbing held him back from approaching me and said, A Yuan, this is just standard procedure. We're not suspecting you, don't be afraid. I glanced over the crowd. She'd brought many were familiar faces from forensics. She was lying. I pulled up a chair and sat down. Get on with it. I've been following up on Yao Yao's case recently, and I found the little boy Yao Yao was with. My heart clenched. Qin Yao had indeed left alone. That's because Lin Yuan had hired the most handsome boy in the area to pretend to play outside her building. She was a born malignancy. This trick worked every time on her. Once Qin Yao took the bait, the boy followed our instructions and led her to the boiler room. I questioned the little boy, and he said the last place she went was your restaurant's boiler room. My brows knitted tightly. Well, you seem to have plenty of people and equipment. Are you planning to collect evidence and then jail me? Don't think that way. I'm doing this to clear your name. I snorted coldly. I was a little hungry, so I grabbed a piece of naan bread and bit into it. Once the suspicion takes root, the guilt is already established. Bai Ningbing, go ahead and investigate. But when you're done, we're getting divorced. Bai Ningbing visibly frowned. Qin Shou was sobbing on the counter, his shoulders shaking. Oh, my daughter. Where in the world are you? I looked at Bai Ningbing. She clenched her jaw and ordered her team. Go to the boiler room and search. I gripped the naan bread. She explained. A Yuan, I'm just doing my job. Don't misunderstand. I don't want to leave you. I took a huge bite of the naan bread and said nothing. There were only a few customers left. Lin Yuan also had a piece of naan bread, sitting at the table across from me, quietly chewing it. Bai Ningbing seemed to think my silence meant I was upset, so she stepped forward to comfort me. I know it wasn't you. I don't mean to target you. Xiao Zhou from forensics immediately reported. Captain, we found the photos of the deceased. Fang's and another girl's. Clatter. The naan bread in Lin Yuan's hand fell to the floor. This action was instantly noticed by the seasoned Bai Ningbing. He smiled faintly, picked up the naan bread, and took a bite. My apologies, I was just distracted. The children of the boss and I were both killed by her. We go there to mourn them together. This lie didn't fool Bai Ningbing. I clutched the naan bread, and my hand involuntarily trembled for a moment. This detail was also caught by Bai Ningbing. Originally, Bai Ningbing wasn't considering an accomplice, but the two photos, plus Lin Yuan's slip-up, meant she would definitely connect the dots. I looked up at her. Her brow was furrowed, and her thin lips were pressed tight. Qin Shou suddenly dropped to his knees. Old Bai, you have to find Yao Yao. My Yao Yao. She's only 8 years old. Bai Ningbing clenched her fists, as if making a decision. Continue. Search thoroughly. The grout between the floor tiles, every nook and cranny, The ashes, the sewer, the vents. Check everything. I managed to twitch the corner of my mouth and took another bite of the bread. The forensics team didn't miss a single spot. Under Bai Ningbing's command, several rolls of trace lifting tape were used up and luminol solution was sprayed over almost the entire boiler room. "Captain, there's no blood here. It's very clean," her subordinate reported to her. I stood at the doorway, still chewing my bread. She began to ponder. Impossible. No matter how well it's cleaned, the blood reaction should still be detectable. She glanced back at me. I scoffed disdainfully. Unexpectedly, Qin Shou suddenly rushed out, clutching my leg and weeping loudly. "Brother, I beg you, give me back my child. She's only 8. What does she know? If she's wrong, it's my fault as a parent. If you want to kill or torture, come for me. The child is innocent." Lin Yuan kicked him from behind, sending him sprawling. I then lifted my foot and kicked his head again. "Why didn't you care sooner? Stop it, both of you." Bai Ningbing stepped up and helped Qin Shou. "Both of you are going too far. He's just a father who lost his daughter. Stop it. You can't use private punishment here." Lin Yuan showed no emotion. "Officer, I could assault a police officer right now." I smiled and stopped him. "Officer Bai, he's just kidding. You investigate, will stay out of your way." Lin Yuan and I played along with each other. Bai Ningbing clearly already believed we were the killers. But there was no evidence at the scene. Qin Shou crouched in the corner, crying until he nearly fainted. Bai Ningbing quickly called an assistant to take him to the hospital. I asked sarcastically, "Officer Bai is so concerned about the victim's family?" She knew I was being sarcastic. "Yuan, I know you're in a bad mood. But he can't find his daughter. He's suffering more than you are right now. Stop talking nonsense." Lin Yuan bit into the bread and snorted coldly. "Idiot." I chuckled. "So, there are no traces. Are you going to keep investigating?" She was still so earnest. "Everything leaves a trace. Flesh and blood are easy to dispose of, but bone fragments are hard to eliminate." She looked inside the boiler. "Scrape off some internal samples for testing. Also the sewer and ash samples, and every meat dish in the restaurant, send them all for DNA comparison." Lin Yuan and I both changed color simultaneously. Bai Ningbing asked, "What's wrong?" I bit into my bread and chewed it deliberately. "Nothing." Unexpectedly, there were no problems with the samples. Bai Ningbing's hard-won reopened case had gone cold again. The higher-ups were annoyed by the double investigation with no results. They officially closed the case as a missing person and ordered Bai Ningbing not to investigate further. I asked Bai Ningbing, "No result. Are you happy or disappointed?" She looked at me seriously. "Yuan, I know it was you. You and Lin Yuan from the foot massage parlor across the street." I stepped closer to her. "What are you going to do? Are you going to arrest me? You know the higher-ups told me to stop investigating. I can't arrest you." "Then what? Are you still going to investigate?" She furrowed her brow. "You don't understand. It's my duty to bring every case to light." "To hell with your duty." I slapped her hard. "Why did I never see you so invested in our son's case? Fangfang has been gone for over a month, and all you can think about is finding that killer. Are you fit to be a mother?" A flicker of sadness crossed her eyes, but it vanished instantly. "Yuan, I am a mother, and I am a police officer." I burst out laughing. "Bai Ningbing, I was going to break up with you, but I've changed my mind. I want to watch you die. Die by my hand." She just sighed. "You're traumatized. You should see a doctor when you have time." Qin Shou was like a madman, coming to my restaurant every day to cause trouble. All my customers were scared away. I could only feed the stray dogs. After I called the police, he'd quiet down briefly, then start trouble again. "Your son died, he's dead. My daughter had her whole life ahead of her. Do you only feel satisfied if both children lose their future?" He was sobbing loudly at the counter. This time, I ignored the customers, grabbed the ashtray, and smashed it down on him. He was hospitalized, and I was fined several thousand yuan. Right outside the police station, I grabbed Qin Shou, who had just finished crying to Bai Ningbing. Smack! Smack! I slapped him several times across the face. Bai Ningbing was stunned. "What are you doing? You just faced consequences, have you forgotten?" I sneered. "A few thousand yuan per assault, I can afford it. Doesn't he love to cause trouble? I'll give him plenty to trouble about. From now on, every time he comes to my shop, I'll hit him. Let's see if his life is tougher or if my money runs out." Bai Ningbing looked at me with unfamiliar eyes. "You are truly insane. Are you fit to be a police officer's family member? I slapped her. Are you fit to be a mother? With that, I left the two of them and walked away. Lin Yuan's mental state had been poor lately. I thought that after getting his revenge, he would feel relief. However, he was visibly wasting away. He closed his foot massage parlor and came to chat when I wasn't busy. But his words gave me the chills. Brother, tell me, did I do the wrong thing? I stopped pressing the calculator keys and looked at him intently. Sometimes I feel like I gained nothing in the end by fighting fire with fire. When Qin Yao was alive, I lived for revenge every day. After she died, I actually felt that life had lost its purpose. A bad feeling arose in my heart. He smiled. Brother, I want to turn myself in. My brows were deeply furrowed. Do you know that turning yourself in will implicate me? I know. His tone was calm, without a trace of change, but I can't handle it anymore. Brother, I'm tired. Lin Yuan didn't look like he was joking. I went home and found the cleaver the first had bought. I owed Qin Yao nothing. If I paid with my life for her, I couldn't face Fong Fong in the afterlife. I must live well, better than Qin Shou, and I must make Bai Ningbing fall into my hands. If anyone dares to stop me, I'll kill them. That boiler can still be used a few more times. That night, I treated Lin Yuan to dinner at my restaurant. I didn't want to kill easily. If he was willing to change his mind, I wouldn't hurt him. After all, I had empathized with him so much, seeing him as my only confidant. Brother, I've made up my mind. I'm going to tell the police. At those words, my hand holding the chopsticks froze instantly. But, brother, don't worry. I won't involve you. I did everything alone. I said nothing. Bai Ningbing might be a jerk, but her experience was too great. Lin Yuan was nowhere near good enough to fool her. So, if he turned himself in, I definitely couldn't escape. Are you really going to do this? He nodded. I got up, went to the counter, and secretly pulled out the glasses I had laced with drugs, and poured 2 glasses of wine. Brother, want some wine? He came up behind me. Before I could turn around, he suddenly clamped his hand over my mouth and nose. A wave of dizziness hit me, and I lost all strength in my body. He slowly lowered me, whispering close to my ear. Brother, I know what you're planning, but I can't let you go down this path. I was dragged next door and locked up. Though my body was limp, my mind was alert. I could clearly hear everything happening next door. Soon after, Lin Yuan opened the door for someone. I instantly recognized the voice. Qin Shou. Lin Yuan. Was he trying to make Qin Shou kill me? I struggled wildly, but my mouth was gagged, my body was tied tight, and I had no strength. My feet are soaked, and I'm here. What more do you want me to do before you give me back my daughter? Lin Yuan's soft voice replied. You haven't eaten yet, brother. Just washing up isn't enough to see your child. You ran all the way here, you must be hungry? Come on, eat first. Eat. My eyes snapped wide. Qin Shou was impatient. He threw down his chopsticks. I'm not in the mood to play. Give me back my child, or I'll tear this place apart. Lin Yuan was unfazed. No one but me knows where the child is. Either you wreck the restaurant, and I stay silent forever, or you finish your meal, and I'll take you to see her. Qin Shou didn't respond. Lin Yuan picked up a few mouthfuls of food and put them in his mouth. Relax, I didn't poison it. Only then did Qin Shou sit down and eat, lost in thought. I lay on the floor in despair and stopped struggling. I knew what Lin Yuan was going to do. I'm done. Tell me where she is. Qin Shou urged impatiently. Lin Yuan smiled. Haven't you already met her? WH. What do you mean? The hot water you soaked your feet in was heated by burning her body. This meal you ate, it was the last 2 ounces of her flesh. Think carefully, have you never tasted this kind of texture before? When a person is distracted, they don't notice the flavor and can unwittingly eat meat of unknown origin. Qin Shou suddenly realized. Thinking back, he immediately vomited. I'll kill you. He grabbed a rolling pin and slammed it down. All I heard were the thud of heavy blows. I couldn't get up. I could only weep, listening to the sounds of blood splattering outside. After the drug wore off, I slipped out of the ropes and opened the door. Lin Yuan's head had been completely caved in, but his hands showed no defensive posture. His 5 fingers were loosely spread. He died calmly, accepting his fate. Given his character, he must have been smiling before he died. I called the police. Bai Ningbing rushed to the scene and was visibly shocked. The police found Qin Yao's DNA in the boiler room of the foot massage parlor across the street. The luminol test showed a reaction. Bai Ningbing stumbled for a second. I sneered. Regret? Regret that you didn't figure it out sooner. That night, Lin Yuan first met me in my boiler room. After finalizing the general plan, we went to his parlor. My small boiler couldn't fit a child, only his would work. Bai Ningbing clenched her fists. I knew it was you. You, my husband, actually deceived me. I spread my hands. I only discovered the body when I came to work. As for any grievances involved, I know nothing about them. Bone fragments were found in the naan-bread. You ate it with Lin Yuan that day. Are you still going to deny it? I shrugged. Lin Yuan was in charge of the ingredients. I did find the naan-bread from those days a bit unpleasant. She gripped both my arms. Revenge is the most shameful act in the world. You killed a child. Will that bring the dead back? I held my smile. Officer Bai, it wasn't you all. I knew nothing about it. I'd never seen her so desperate. I will not let any criminal escape my grasp. I applauded. Bravo, bravo. Fair and impartial. Bai Ningbing was indeed strict and impartial. She frantically tried to find any trace of me at the scene. But there was nothing. Yet, when it came to Qin Shou, who was brought back, she claimed illness and refused to go to the scene to investigate his crime. I let out a cold laugh. Didn't Officer Bai say she wouldn't let any criminal escape? Why is Qin Shou getting off easy? She just frowned. A Yuan. If you hadn't taken revenge, this tragedy wouldn't have happened. I slapped her across the face. If you could treat everyone equally, I might still respect you. But Bai Ningbing, you are just a coward. Qin Shou had clearly committed a capital crime. But Bai Ningbing stayed up for days, searching for legal aid for him, trying to get him a commuted death sentence. I said sarcastically. Lin Yuan knew that a life for a life was the rule. Why does he suddenly deserve a second chance? Her eyes were bloodshot from lack of sleep. She glared at me. She killed Qin Shou's daughter first. As a father, isn't what he did understandable? I clenched my fist. And Qin Shou's daughter killed Lin Yuan's daughter first. As a father, isn't what Lin Yuan did also understandable? She sighed. Feng Yuan, I'm not arguing with you anymore. You've lost your mind. I slapped her. I think you're the one who's crazy. I'd been in the restaurant business for years and still had a good amount of savings. Bai Ningbing found legal aid for Qin Shou, so I arranged opposing legal aid for him. Nothing less than the death penalty would bring peace to Lin Yuan. Bai Ningbing's efforts were all in vain. She blamed me. You can't fight the legal system. I sneered. Who is the one frantically making excuses for a murderer? Bai Ningbing, you're the one fighting the law. Qin Shou was ultimately sentenced to death. Bai Ningbing rushed to see him after hearing the news, but was dragged under a large truck and was paralyzed for life. I had intended to use that cleaver to achieve this purpose. I didn't expect heaven to help me first. I said I wanted to watch her die by my hand. Bai Ningbing lost all feeling from the chest down. She was confined to a wheelchair, needing lifelong care. I leaned down gently. Don't worry, dear. I won't abandon you. I told you I would watch you die. Her mouth was gagged with a rag, and she made a muffled MMPH sound. I slapped her face. Did I tell you to make noise? Do you know who's in charge now? My son's photo and urn were placed across from her. She tried to turn the wheelchair, but her hands had lost all feeling and couldn't move. I stood behind her. Old Bai, you will sit right here for the rest of your life, looking at Fong Fong, and atone for your sins. If there's anything I'm not happy with, you won't get your next meal. Her eyes were tearing up. I calmly bent down and removed the gag. Do you hate me? Do you want revenge? Her words were incoherent. I want to kill you. You evil husband. I threw my head back and laughed. Old Bai, didn't you teach me that revenge is the most shameful act in the world? How can your heart be so malicious now? She bit her lip until it bled. I drew a conclusion for her. Because you weren't the victim. You didn't love Fong Fong, you only cared about your reputation and that broken first love. I was once naive enough to think that marrying someone with your profession would give me security. But Bai Ningbing, people like you aren't fit for marriage. I want to watch you suffer a living hell in my hands, unable to live or die. Despair filled both her eyes. Although I didn't intend to abandon Bai Ningbing, I still forced her to sign the divorce papers. She stared at me in horror. She was afraid of my torment, yet afraid of me leaving. Seeing her conflicted anguish, I found it amusing. I slapped the divorce papers on her face. Relax. I'm not going anywhere. I said I would watch you die. The outside world highly praised my behavior of not abandoning my ex-wife after the divorce. Only she was locked in the dark room every day, weeping while looking at Fong Fong's innocent smile. She was terrified of upsetting me and missing her next meal. A person doesn't truly feel the pain until the knife cuts their own flesh. But realizing it so late is useless.